Hello, welcome to the Wealth Transfer. My name is Terry Sacka. I'm Chief Strategist, and I'm along with Dr. Charles Vance, and we're going to discuss global economics, biblical principles, protecting and preserving your family's wealth, which is absolutely essential. And we're going to jump right in and show you, as we got before, we left off last week. We want to start off this program and get into showing you how the elites knew all along what was coming when these markets were off, and they just leave us out to dry. Hi, Charles. How you doing?
Terry. Good, thanks. How you doing?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you.
2008. Interesting that you brought that up. I was working with a really close friend of mine. We were working on a multi-million-dollar land deal, and we were ready within 2 days, getting ready to sign all of the contracts. We were just going to make a bunch of money. We had found the land, getting ready to do the infrastructure, going to do a huge development, 1,000 acres. And the guy that was the money guy called and said, there's going to be a bad stuff that takes place in the land and real estate business, and I'm backing out of the deal. I talked to my partner and said, that's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Oh, my God. He knew.
He knew. I mean, everything was just going gangbusters, man. I mean, it was going like wild, and he knew in advance that there was getting ready to be a market collapse. And just like you said, people absolutely, there are people in the know. They know.
They know.
Yeah.
They know. You know why? Because they are behind the veil.
Yes, sir.
And they're orchestrating it.
Sure they are.
I think I remember you telling me about that. That guy was a billionaire, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
See, information is everything.
Yep. Information.
Yes, correct information. For
Correct
instance,
information.
I want to get into, because we talked about the elites, right? And this chart behind us here is, what was it, the end of 2015, flows by client type. Money in the billions, mind you. And if you notice, most of them are floating at the top. There's a green line at the top above the line. Well, that happens to be private clients, we the people, right? Hedge funds got a little smarter, and they're below the line, meaning they started taking money out of the system. They knew something was coming. Well, look at the yellow line. That is the institution, the banking system, the traders. Look at that. Look at that system. They knew from the get-go when this was hitting around December of 2014.
No, interesting.
But no, look at this. December 2014, they knew, and they started pulling out. But all through 2015, they made the average green line person think everything was okay. Now, that yellow line, I can't describe more, Charles, the truth of who knows what, and they prepared. And why are they doing that? They're going to take all the money of we the people when they start crashing and panic sell.
I'm smiling, but I don't mean to be smiling, but they will persecute a few people that use this information. They call it inside trading many times, because they know what's going on. But all of the folks in this elite category of the financial realm knows what's going on.
Institutions started pulling money out of the market in December of 2014. This is December, January now, February now of 2016. Yeah. All through 2015, I heard from so many people how everything was doing well.
Sure.
The TV was telling you everything's doing well. And yet, the whole time, institutions were pulling money out. That's just the beginning. That's just one example. And I want to show, this is really kind of a neat vision of it. We must, and we talk about this, get the right information, not to be taken advantage of by the elites. The elites are controlling we the people. They love enslaving we the people. Now, mind you, that's just not now. This goes all the way back through history. So I'm going to put up here something we call feudalism, then and now. And what's interesting about this, we could even put this in full pop screen, because I want to show the difference. Now look at this. On the left, in the ancient day, it was medieval feudalism. By rank, the monarchs, the kings, the queens, the emperors, they were at the top of the food chain. Nowadays, corporate feudalism, which is modern economy, the central bankers, Federal Reserve, Bank of Japan, ECB, they're at the top of the food chain. They're the kings and the queens now. They're controlling the system and the money and in control. Next, land gentries, which are the dukes and the earls, now are the big bankers and the top bankers. Then there's the clergy, which are the archbishops and the priests. They were at the top of the food chain.
Personal.
They were at the top of the food chain. The religious ones back in those days were very politically conniving. They sit right along with the corporate elite today.
Very interesting.
Isn't it? That's how they were back then. Royal ministers, which are the chancellors and constables, they're now the elected officials, presidents, congressmen, senators. Then you have the merchants, which are the traders, the explorers and such. Those are the top bureaucrats today. Secretaries, judges, things of that nature. Then we have the vassals. They were the tenant farmers, military officers. That's today the top professional. And then, of course, everyone else, the peasants. And, of course, that's where we are, if you notice on the picture. And you could take that off. And not that I really, it's not that, you know, hey, I am we the people, so we all are, right? That is the structure of elitism. Luciferianism sits atop of that. This is all part of the esoteric, occult, the whole dynamic of the wicked side to that in the God and the good. And so the reason we want to promote this kind of thinking, we always have been taken advantage of. We, the people, established a tremendous country called the United States of America. We put together a constitution under God, biblical, and all you got to do is look around. When they're given the State of the Union in the Congress and the House and all of those buildings they're talking, all you have to do is look around to see the scriptures, to see Moses, to see all the dynamic Christianity. George Washington even had it on the very tip of the Washington Monument. It's all about honoring God we were founded on. But the elites and the Luciferians have slowly ripped it away from us to where most of us are ignorant of what's happening, and we don't even have a clue of real truth. And then a lot of us are so busy we're not paying attention. But the most important part of that is we're getting our wealth ripped away because we've always been in the wrong place. So it's very important to understand that this is happening and it hasn't changed. For instance, this next image here, people say, oh, but we're in deflation. A lot of experts are saying that. That big gray area in the middle, that's the 2008 collapse. So it came down just a tad bit. And what came down, I'm talking about prices. These are not only personal consumption expenditures, consumer price index, less food and energy, and then consumer price index, everything. What's interesting is they're all going up, 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 up.
What is that indicating, that those continue to climb?
That's beautiful. Yeah, we could take that off. You know what that is indicating? Inflation. It's indicating your buying power, that you are holding this paper money. Remember back, hand me that silver, Charles. Piece of silver there. Thank you. Remember back in the 60s, 70s, these were equal. They both bought you 5 gallons of gas. One paper dollar exchanged for a silver ounce. They were equal. You take the paper or the silver and you bought 5 gallons of gas. It was roughly 20 cents a gallon. Well, today, you get rid of the paper because they divorced, remember, in the 70s. You take your silver and you go sell it. Not only can you buy the same 5 gallons of gas, I can buy 8 gallons of gas. I can buy literally 50, 60% more gas today by holding on to the silver dollar money than I did 40 years ago. Now that is wealth retainment. That is the definition of money, storage of value over time.
You said 50 to 60, but you can 5 to 6 times more.
Yes. Now, here's what's interesting. Take your paper dollar. How much can you buy? Half a gallon.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than that nowadays, right? Yeah. But that's it. So what would you rather have in your wallet? 8 gallons or half a gallon?
You know, some people have argued, like financial people have argued, well, this is coming down, but it's still,
Yes, buying power.
Well, no, they're saying that the silver has come down in value, but the value of it is still so much higher than the printed currency.
Yes.
That it's amazing.
And the thing is, if we would have held on to this all along.
Sure.
Because all I'm saying is, behind me, us, prices have been going up. Meaning you're holding on to paper, and the paper isn't buying you the same. The chart behind us is the proof. If you were holding on to this all along, you would have retained your buying power. That's a fact, and we talk about it a lot. So let's just go this way. Remember, the best investment we can ever make in the kingdom is in education, and here's a good place to get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Buying power. That's all that matters in this world, Charles, is buying power. All these things are good for is what can we buy, goods and services.
What can you trade for?
What can we trade it for? So keep in mind this. All your waking life, you got up, went to work to earn this. And then you took it and bought your groceries, your clothes, your home, your gas, your everything, your life, services. You had things done. But this has been buying you less and less and less year over year. We show so many charts to prove it, and yet we hold on to this, which is a dishonest weight and measure according to the Bible, because they print it, it's fake. Honest scales are a delight. 1 ounce is 1 ounce. You can't fake it, can't make it. See, the world teaches us we should be operating in this way. Of course, Lucifer is God of the world. God teaches us silver is his, Haggai 2:8, gold and silver is mine. If we were always holding this as our money instead of this, we would be infinitely wealthier today. And the thing is, advisors always try to say silver is an investment, and it's, as Charles was saying, it's a bad investment, it's going down. Wait a minute, number one, this is the only authorized constitutional form of money, Article 1, Section 8. Article has a right to coin money. Money was defined of grains of silver. Remember, the dollar gets its definition from the region of Bohemia in Germany back in the day in the 1600s. And in Bohemia, they had the silver. They related silver as the currency. And the word dollar means grains of silver. Not, remind you, Bohemian Grove from California and the elite occult and all that kind of connection. Get it? It's all Lucifer. So the thing is, we should have always been holding silver as our money. It's not like it's an investment in the head. It really is our constitutional form of this.
Now, Terry.
So it's really good to understand that.
Let me interrupt you for a minute, because you're saying we always should be holding this, but you're talking about holding this as far as something that will be tangible for our retirement, something that we have an investment in.
Oh, thank you. I get what you're saying.
Because obviously you don't take the handful of these and buy groceries.
You know what?
With
Good
them
point.
anymore.
People ask that question, and you know what you do? You hold this as your storage of value over time.
Exactly. That's
then
what I wanted people to understand.
You sell this for the dollars when the time comes, and then you go do your stuff.
Sure.
Now, it's very important to get that.
Now, people have asked me, where do you sell this? We played a video that was so funny, but yet it was so eye-opening, that a guy was offering folks either a chocolate bar or a
10-ounce bar of silver.
A 10-ounce bar of silver. They were taking the chocolate bar 8 out of 10 times, maybe more than that. I don't know. It was crazy. Because they didn't know what to do with the silver. What was funny is that there was a pawn shop right behind.
It was a coin store.
A coin store right behind him, where they could have taken the silver and sold it and bought a wheelbarrow full of chocolate bars.
There's a million coin dealers, pawn shops, refineries.
And people need to understand that this is very, very liquid. It's very easy.
It's more liquid than people realize.
People are on eBay. You can sell coins on eBay in a heartbeat. They're on there all day long. I mean, it's just so liquid, so easy to trade.
It's really important to understand that, Charles, because we're holding the wrong source here. We're seeing how the elitists have been fooling us all along. We should have always been doing this. Now, let's look at this, for instance. Here's the next image I want to show you. This is known as household leverage ratio. Now, what this really means, the red line there that we see on the left side, that's 1971 when we came off the gold standard. The blue line shows us leverage ratio, meaning how much we're going into credit and debt. Yes, it's come down a bit, don't mind you, from the 2008 collapse. But we're still significantly higher than we were back in the 70s. You can take that off.
The reason that's down is because people got scared with all the stuff that went on in 2008, the collapse, and they're kind of holding on to money more now?
They're not taking out more credit.
Oh, okay. They're not using as much
because
credit.
You notice the line's growing. So they were expanding credit. Meaning, I have a credit card for $3,000, and then I got another one for $5,000, another one for $8,000.
Right.
So instead of doing that, people are just not getting credit cards as much, that kind of stuff. But it's still significantly higher than it was.
Well, sure.
Now they're saying everything's okay, or I heard a State of the Union about this, which is amazing to me. This next image here. This is household and nonprofit credit market instruments and liability. On the left side there, it dropped down significantly 2011 and 12. You could see it dropped. Yes, they did get rid of a lot of liabilities. They paid off debts. They got rid of debts. But here's what happened. Because you can see the right side goes back up. Wow, right? Let me explain this. Now, you can take that off. The reason
just in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I want to get at. The left side's 2008. Everyone said, whoa, get rid of this debt. Don't expand in credit and debt. And it goes down. Then the government comes in 2011, starts printing, the central bank starts printing, and the central bank's not the government, mind you, they're a private bank.
Right.
They start printing money.
So there's more money available.
And they start this QE, quantitative easing, nothing more than printing money, put in the economies. They fooled people is what they did. They told everyone everything's okay.
So
borrow, and look what happened.
Wow.
It goes
right
all the way back up to 2008 level.
Wow.
So people have gotten not only into debt again, we're worse off today than we were in 2008. We're $6 trillion as a nation more in debt, and this is why you're seeing trouble in the stock markets.
You've got I just want to mention this
Sure.
real quick. You've got a real cool moving clock on your website, Cornerstone Asset
Oh,
Metals,
yes, I know.
That the government
that clock,
debt that just keeps moving. It's in the 18s now.
19 almost, yeah.
Almost $19 trillion.
You know, and they held that clock. That clock was stagnant for like 6 months because they were having trouble with the budget, and they were fooling it and faking everyone out. And all of a sudden, it jumped hundreds of billions.
Yeah, I bet.
And they try to tell you, well, we're doing better. We're collecting more revenue. They're stealing more money from people than they ever did before. And yet, we're only $400 or $500 billion in the hole, but that's just not true. Our liabilities are so important to understand for the future are like $60 trillion just for baby boomers. Where are we getting the money?
The government. You're talking about the U.S. government.
Liability
Yeah,
to pay baby boomers' obligations, you see.
Well, we can just print more.
No, but see, there's an end to this. This is where we're getting at. It's a reckoning.
You had a video about a year and a half ago of a guy that said, well, all we got to do is print more money.
Yes.
And one of the guys sitting behind him was one of the guys on the Federal Reserve Board.
That's right.
And he was like, I can't believe the guy just said that.
Right.
But that's what they're doing. That's the mentality.
Yes. And what they don't want you to understand is printing more money causes long-term absolute annihilation of your currency.
Sure.
There is, and what I'm contending.
Because you just keep cutting
a piece of the pie.
piece of the pie, and you're cutting it smaller every time.
Best way, here's a better way of looking at it. Take a gallon of cranberry juice, dump it in a toilet bowl. Red, right? Dump that same thing in an Olympic swimming pool. Gone.
Right.
We're at a reckoning period, Charles, where this paper money is going to reckon. I don't know what's coming. I know it's going to hurt. Next one, look at this thing. This is leveraged debt outstanding. Let's put that up full.
Tell us what leveraged debt is. You've mentioned it before, but a lot of people don't understand what leveraged debt is.
Well, I have $10, and I borrow $100 against it. That's leveraged debt, you see. Now, look at the blue. The blue...
So it's collateral.
Yeah. It's basically meaning I have $1,000, and because I have $1,000, they'll lend me $5,000 and say, we'll use it as collateral. Okay? It's a fractional banking you talk about.
Got you.
Now, here's what's scary about this. Going back to even 2001, on the left side, you see, we didn't really have a whole lot of debt outstanding per se. Then look at that mountain climbing. And I'm just going to merely outline the blue. The blue, since 9/11 first Shemitah cycle, 2008 the second one. The second lien bank debt in 2008. That's when we exploded. Look at that blue go up all of a sudden, just skyrocketed. That is known as unsecured bonds. Unsecured meaning nothing backing it up. IOUs out of thin air saying we owe you in the future.
Now, who issued those bonds? That they're
Governments,
unsecured? The governments,
local,
they're unsecured?
Yep.
So there's no, like, they can just tell you there's no money here, we can't pay you back, and they're off the hook? Is that what you're saying?
To a degree, yes. Now, the governments say it's secured because they could tax you. But I'm talking even corporations.
Nice guys.
These are corporation bonds. These
okay.
are people that have.
Oh, I got you. So they're issuing the bonds. Like we start a company.
A lot of people are.
We start a company, we issue the bonds, and people buy it, but there's no security in it. If we collapse, your money's gone.
Right.
Okay.
This is fake, fake. So remember, we're in a world right now that has a reckoning coming to it. Our assets in the kingdom must be protected. Because it's happening in front of your eyes right now. I'm continuing to show you data as to why it's going to unravel like you've never seen unraveling. And remember, the best investment you can make is in education. Here's a good place to get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Okay, now we were talking about leverage loans and taking credit out. Now let's look at one more form of loan. What we have here now, the yellow is leverage loans, meaning, okay, I'm going to have some collateral and I'm going to go out and I'm going to get more. I'm going to leverage it out, compound it out, right? Then there's another form of a loan. What did they do to help the economy? They lowered the interest rates, right? Down to zero. Zero interest rates. What did that do? It forced corporations and industry to go out and take loans because it was free money.
Well, sure.
Right. So if you notice in the middle of this chart behind me, we can put that up briefly and let people see this. Now, mind you, this is data that comes from the Contra Corner, which is David Stockman. He actually was an advisor to Ronald Reagan. Very, very intelligent guy, by the way, so I just thought I'd throw that out. He knows what he's talking about. And if you notice in the middle there, the little mountain bump, that was 2008. We were pretty high. We had a lot of loans going into that, as you said, the housing stuff, right?
Sure.
Then everything collapsed. We are higher today on the right of loans of all commercial and industrial than we were in 2008.
Wow.
Now, you can take that off. If in 2008 we had a major collapse and that was the case, we are higher today in loans and leverage loans than we were in 2008.
So if a collapse takes place, it's going to be more damaging.
It is now already.
Yeah.
It's in the process.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you it is. Even the yellow behind us, leverage loans are higher than 2008 individually.
I feel like people need to understand. I can all but hear people saying, well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, if it's going to come, what you need to do is you need to invest in something that is tangible, that can't be just disintegrated because it has no value and it has no kind of guarantee that you're going to get anything back from it. We have a responsibility to do that, Terry. I can't stress
Charles,
that enough.
let's do this. Let me kind of wrap this up a little bit here. I'm trying to help that right. People are in the wrong place with their faith and what they think is money.
Right.
If they always would have been storing hard, tangible assets. Now, reason this is so important for me and why we're doing this is a reckoning period. And I'm saying that this is something right now we're going to see is something we haven't seen yet and we're probably never going to see again. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for we, the people. That's why Jesus is, Holy Spirit allows us to see behind the veil. I'm going to end it with this one. Look at this graph here, global debt and GDP, what they produce, the globe. On the left side is what the globe produced from 1994 on the left to 2014. you can see that the globe did, generate over the last 30 or so years, 20 some years, right? A lot of money. They made 50 trillion more in production, so it became productive. Look on the right. The total debt, though, went from 40 trillion in the world in 1994 to 225 trillion today. That can't stand. You can take that off.
Is it fair to say the whole world is operating on this?
Keynesian economic money printing, yes. And the reason the Chinese and everyone else is doing it too, they know this is collapsing. The Chinese are telling their people to buy silver. They're buying more gold. We're sending more gold and silver to China in the Middle East than anywhere else. And don't kid yourself that those mountains are coming down. There's a reason the 9/11 towers came down. Those were financial. That was a warning. So get prepared, get protected, and we'll catch up next week and fill you in even more. God bless you.
Tell somebody about the broadcast. We're on at the same time on this station every week, Monday through Friday. Or I'm sorry, this time, same day next week. Make sure you join us then and tell somebody they can watch this program at CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. We'll see you next week.
Cornerstone Asset Metals has focused on using gold and silver reserves to protect your assets from volatile currencies. Another hard asset that is just as important for your sustainability is food. We believe that preparation is a key to being successful in an unstable economic environment, so we started Cam Ready Food just for you. The Bible tells us that Joseph used the resources of Egypt to prepare for a global famine by storing up food in a time of plenty. His preparation not only preserved the lives of his family, but many others as well. At Cornerstone, we believe the time is now to re-examine this biblical lesson so that you and your family can be prepared for any disaster, job loss, food shortage, or economic instability. You can start preparing today by visiting our website, camreadyfood.com, because food truly is the ultimate currency. Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.